Peace and Grand Rising to the heirs. Today is December 16th, 1441 on the moon calendar, which is 1440 on the sun calendar and 2020 on the Greco-Roman calendar. This is the day after our 3-day fast, the new moon fast for December 13th, 14th, and 15th. So the new moon was the 14th. Does anyone want to share their experience with that fast, if you were able to participate? Some fasted from sun up to sundown. Others fasted where they just stayed away from meat. Others did juice fast. Many of us did water only fast. So for me, this fast was a lot easier because I think my body is getting used to fasting.
Yeah.
Because I had fasted with some of the Moors here over the last 2 months. 2 of the Moors in this territory wanted to do a 3-day fast at separate times. And so I fasted with each one of them. And this is my 3rd 3-day fast. And it just got so much easier this time. The time flew by so quickly that it was just amazing. Just really amazing that the time went by that fast. So, if no one, let's see, is in the chat. Are there anything that you all want to share? A lot of times I do all the talking. What are you feeling? What's going on in the atmosphere for you? What's going on in your territory? Anyone want to share? How things are going, how you're feeling about where we are and who you are as a nation, and how your kinship is taking what you're doing, etc. Anything you want to talk about?
And how everybody,
Islam. This is Chatali from Khalifa Territory.
Islam.
Hey, I'm networking with other Moors here and there, and just keeping my ear to the ground on what they're doing, and so someone was telling me about Abdullah and Shem, and give me an update on what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were talking about doing a 9/8 number to get to use the banks, and then they were also talking about needing to vote people in to govern certain territories, because they're not saying territories anymore. And so I said, well, I don't really have that many people to try to oversee the land, in that way, because they were talking about you need 100 people voting. I'm like, it's just 3 of us here, okay? And Khalifa is what I'm thinking. And so cause I was like, the things you're telling me, that will put me back to sleep, because you're giving me a really hard task here. And then some things I don't want to do. I mean, I feel that the 9/8 number, to me, I don't know about that. And but so those are some of the things that they're doing. And so, yeah, I was wondering if you were keeping your ears to the ground, with what they were doing, and had some kind of insight on it or clarity, because sometimes people just explain things and highlight the things that they're thinking about without giving us the whole picture. So.
Okay. I get information from you all. So what you're telling me, I had not heard, and I'm glad to hear it, that they are stepping in to do what, to assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity. With regard to the 9/8 numbers, here's what we have already said in the past. As long as it is done in red in all lowercase letters, and that it is not filed with the Service Corporation. Because again, we're the United States. We're the United States Treasury in red in all lowercase letters. So the format is going to be the key. The format, how it is done, is going to be the key. We already know that capital letters in black ink, that's on everybody's name change, and that was on everyone's name change even before I woke up. That the all caps and capital letters was not what we do. We were changing that. We were refuting the fraud of all capital letters, and we were refuting the fraud even of any capital letters. We refute the fraud of any capital letters because we know what capitalism is. And so from our studies and from what everyone who has filled out a name change document has already refuted the fraud of capital letters. It's on there, plain as day. And if we take that a step further and get all the way in our rightful place, red ink and all lowercase letters is something that none of the capitalist systems can duplicate. None of them. So if you go out there and, a policy enforcer pulls you over, they can't do anything in red and all lowercase letters. Fake courts can't do anything in red and all lowercase letters. We have our own courts, and we do everything in red and all lowercase letters. And then when we want to identify properly the corporate, we identify them the way every last one of us who has filled out a name change document. We identify the courts that way. Everyone has done that. Even when I first nationalized, my documents were done with RV Bay Publications, and they were witnessed by Grand Chief, our Grand Chief Tariq Bay. Justice Shaleigh Moore flew to Delaware to get the autograph of our Grand Chief. And again, everything that was done was right. It was right. And now we've taken that a step further and put things in red in all lowercase letters because we know that that's the sovereign creditor status. And as long as 9/8 numbers are put on the public records, because that's how you let people know. We're not using their systems anymore. We're using our own systems. And we don't need Service Corporation's permission to do anything. We're not using anything that has to do with their corporate paper because it's finished anyway. We can see that. So 9/8 numbers, we talked about that. We did a video on EIN numbers, etc. We did a video on that, and the title of the video is I believe it's Sovereign EIN. That was done about 2 or 3 months ago. So around September, October time frame.
You're right, I remember that.
Yes. As long as it's done in red and all lowercase letters, then that's how a sovereign document on government letterhead is expressed. That's a part of an express trust document. So anyone wanting to do that. So Justice Shem and Justice Abdullah, that is the right direction to go in. It's just that it needs to be in red in all lowercase letters, or else the corporates will misidentify it. We already know that their systems speak that way.
You're right.
Don't we?
Yes.
Their systems speak that way.
Yes.
Anytime they want to pass some debt, they use black ink in capital letters.
Yes. And you know, that's what I mean by I may not be getting all the information, because you're right. They probably are doing it in red and lowercase. You know, I'm just getting some information. You know.
If I had a suggestion to make to them, I would suggest that they do it in red and all lowercase letters. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything just needs to be. We need to express ourselves as the sovereigns that we are. While we were asleep, that is how the fake queen did everything in red. She signed in red and all those letters, except that she did it and she would put a minus sign in between her name to indicate that she's not trying to be us. She's just placeholding.
Okay.
And then with regard to the 100 people.
Yeah.
We, and again, we honor the work that Justice Shem and Justice Abdullah and Empress Tamara, because she's a part of that. We have to have an Empress in there. If we don't have Empress energy, then things are a little bit out of order. So we want to definitely acknowledge her sovereign status as well as a part of it. And so with the 100 people, where did that come from? I'd love to see where that came from. However, this Moorish American consulate has already done that. That work is already done. The number of MAC numbers that we have out there supersede in all of the territories, supersede 100.
Okay, and here's what they're saying. They're saying that the consulate did do their thing, but now we need to break it down by terratories. They're not saying territories anymore, because, you know, that's a corporate name.
They're probably saying provinces. They're probably saying provinces or something similar. What are they saying? And so
they're saying, no, terratum. They broke down, it's maybe probably Latin. Yes, probably Latin. And because they're saying they can't saying territory anymore.
Good.
They're not saying America anymore. They won't say America, you know. And so they're making some some distinctions in their paperwork and everything. But they said as for like the Khalifa terratum, I would need 100 people in my territory to vote to see who would govern California. You see, that's what they're saying that needs to be done, or else my affidavits won't be recognized, because there's nobody governing California, and they're saying that we would need to use the international court justice system in order to deal with the Albions here who want to violate our rights. So it's like, okay, so you're saying that we need to have those in place in order for anything to be effective. And I was like, I'm nowhere near there. I don't have 100 people in the Khalifa territory. And brother, you just about to put me back to sleep, because
Empress, you know we're not going to let you go back to sleep.
Yes, I won't either. But I'm telling them, I'm just giving them an example of the task you put in front of us will make you feel like according to us, we haven't made any ground.
Thank you for bringing that up. First, let's deal with that feeling of overwhelmingness, because it can be that. Are you sovereign?
Absolutely.
Okay, so anything that even one sovereign says is valid. We don't need the validation of any corporate and we validate one another. That's something that Grand Chief Taj Tariq, they told us early on when we first started the Consular Court Restoration Development Team. He said that we sanction, that was the word he used. He said we sanction one another. And that was such a relief for all of us, because we didn't have to go to any corporates for anything. We don't have to go to them for anything. It's our land. Why would we go to them? We don't need their approval. And we already have we have thousands in each territory.
Yes.
And when we use the word territory, we don't even spell it the way that the corporates spell it. We spell it Terra, which is actually a planting term. It's a natural term. When you talk about terraforming,
that's right.
because that's what, that's how we spell it. Terrator, either IE or TORY.
Okay.
So we're speaking in terms of using the root word the way that it was meant to be used. And it is still the Latin root, terra. Terra is the Latin. Now, when they say terratum, they're then referring back to ancient English. That's an ancient English term, terratum.
Yes.
So now the spelling has changed, which is what we've been saying, that the spelling needs to change of what we were, of what we've been doing. And so we honor their work, and we already have that. So this is my, I see what the ancestors are doing. I see what they're doing. And at some point, the Moorish National Republic federal government, in its de jure status, which is all we exist in, we do not exist otherwise. In terms of we don't acknowledge corporates; they don't have anything to do with us. We're separate from the corporate capitalism system. But the Moorish National Republic federal government and the work that all Moors are doing, not just some Moors, but the work that all Moors are doing at America, is being brought together. It has to be.
Yes.
We are one. And that is the purpose of this government, which is all of us. It's not just me, it's all of us. This government publicly, just a moment, there's a little bit of noise coming in the background. That's the purpose of this government, recognizing all of the other sovereign governments. We want to recognize them, so that we can work together. We have to come together. And I will say this, Empress, our ancestors won't have it any other way.
Yes.
They will not have it any other way. And anyone that is seeking to not come together, the ancestors will gently
make that correction.
They will make that correction. So right now, I will say this about the territories that have been established already, because they're all already established. We have Moors everywhere who are actively nationalizing others who come to them for assistance. If any of the Moors in any of the territories have nationalized, have assisted even one of their kin, whether it be a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a neighbor, or a complete someone that you do not know, if you've assisted even one more in nationalizing, then you're already ahead in that territory. You're already governing. You're already governing, because guess what you've already done? You brought someone else into the government.
Yeah. Okay. And so here's what they further said about voting someone in to govern, like California, for instance, because they were saying, once we have someone that's a recognized, or appointed a governor, a bay. If there's a bay there, so then all the bays from all of the states will go to Delaware to vote on if Albions would stay or go, or or how we're going to handle this. From that point, once we get everybody get ahead, somebody governing each state, then everybody, that head will go to Delaware to talk about what we're going to do about the Albions, and then they would vote on, if they would stay or go. But to me, the liens themselves in the court action say who stay or go.
Rising.
In my mind, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of stuff to do just to say if they stay or go. And then they're also saying that the treaty it's been running for so long that we would need to write another one. They're just talking about a lot of work, and I'm going,
Okay, so now we've already talked about the treaty being rewritten. Some of the boards have already done it. They did it in red and lowercase letters, and they put everybody back in their rightful status. Because if you look at the treaty in black and white, the one that's in the Library of Congress, it puts the citizens over us because the citizens are in all lowercase letters, and they put more with a capital M. They meant to do that. Yeah. Because they cannot record it as sovereign because they're not sovereign. So they had to do it in the way that corporates do things.
Yes.
So that when we woke up, we would do it the right way.
Okay. All right.
So that's already been done. However, we're in favor of reinforcement and further affirmation of what's already been done. Because really, that's all we're doing is reaffirming and affirming that which our ancestors already put in place. Yeah. They just want to see if we're competent to do it.
Yes.
So we honor, again, the work that they're doing. And we support any support that we can give, we will give it. Any support that we can give, we will give
I definitely say that.
We have to, where the delegates going to Delaware is concerned, that is also the right idea and the right concept, because Moors really, we don't really vote on people as much as we vote on issues. We don't put as much emphasis on voting on people as much as we do on issues. So one thing we know about Moorish sovereign consent is that hold on for just a moment. There's a little bit of noise coming. It might even be in your background interest. So I'll mute you for just a moment, and then we'll move forward.
Okay.
But unmute yourself when you're ready to say something. Okay. It's a little bit of, I want to make sure that this is heard. We're voting on, we don't want to put too much emphasis on, I'm not saying we don't do it, I'm saying we don't want to put too much emphasis on voting on people. Because everyone is sovereign. We all have the same authority. The only reason we would vote on people is if all the sovereigns say, okay, you can, this is what we've said, because the people speak. It's not no one represents the Moors. The people will speak, and the people will say, okay, we want Empress Chitali. This is our will. This is the will of the people. So Empress Chitali, can you go to Delaware and tell them that this is what we've all agreed on? That's how that would be done. And generally in the territories, we would say that whoever it is, we would look at their birth charts and all of that, and we would say, who is it by definition? Who is it that is great at expressing? who is it that can do that? Now, obviously, you're one. Most Moors are. So it really wouldn't make a difference who we pick, but it would have to be someone who consented to it. So voting on a delegate, that's a good idea. It has to be done where the people choose for themselves. They speak for themselves. If there's someone who is a better coordinator of events, because what you don't want is to heap everything on on the shoulders of only one or two people in the territory. Everything needs to be spread out evenly. And even Moors who may be a little bit more quiet sometimes may have to do things, and not necessarily do things that they don't love, but do things, that would uplift them too. So they have all the right ideas and concepts about how government is done. We have chosen to allow all the Moors, and that's why there's so many of us. We have chosen to allow all the Moors to have an equal voice because we were constituting ourselves again. We were coming back together again. And when you're coming back together again, first you have to unify before you can vote on anything. So we needed the Moors to at least first know that they were Moors, so that's why we did things the way that we did them. Where we didn't worry about offices per se. The only offices that were voted on was Consular General and Co-Consular General. And that was Grand Sheik Tariq Bey and Justice Shalamor. And after that, we didn't worry so much about positions because we needed to get a whole bunch of heirs nationalized very quickly. Because Grand Sheik was saying that things needed to move quicker. Not really quicker, because he knows time is not a thing with us. But this movement needed to match the energies so that as many as can be saved can be saved.
Sorry I'm late to the Pauline bullshit show today. Sorry I'm late, Pauline.
So, no apologies necessary from any of those who Islam. Peace be still. So, those who basically we needed to get more Moors were waking up quickly, so they needed to be nationalized quickly. So we put the consulate system in place, and we didn't put it in place. We just restored it, resurrected it, or restored it rather. Restore is a better word. That was the word we used. Restored in the territories, and then began getting the documents out. And so that's why we did things the way that we did them, where we were not worried so much about, because even on the international scale, you needed at least 500 people to say that you're a nation. That was what we heard initially. So we met and superseded that goal by many times over. And we still were not worried about too much about, electing and building the hierarchy or the pyramid, because we don't really do hierarchies in our nation. We vote collectively, and all voices are the same. They equal. We speak with one voice. We've been saying that, and that is where our success is as a nation, is that we speak with one voice. And that's something that, as the governments continue forming, we're going to recognize all of them. We're going to recognize all of them. We recognize United Republic of Morocco. It is our job to recognize them. We are the Moorish National Republic federal government has always been. So it's our job to recognize all that are here. So they have they're looking at all of the right stuff where government is concerned. The concept must be fine-tuned and clarified so that all Moors realize and know that they are in complete control of their own destiny, and that no Moors feel like they have to go back to sleep because things are so monumental. It's too many of us for any one task to be monumental. Empress, there are thousands of Moors in Khalifa territory, thousands that have come through, and some of them, many of them, have chosen to nationalize and then go their way and do what the ancestors put on their hearts, because we're reconstituting very quickly. So they chose to do things their own way.
Yes.
And we honor that. There's been a lot of moving around. There's been a lot of, some have gone through different tests that the ancestors have put each of us through different tests. And those tests led us one way to one place or another. Some have changed territories, etc. And, our job was to assist in uplifting them from from what they thought was citizen status to what we are now, which is the heirs, the government, the law. So I appreciate that you're bringing that to this call so that we can talk about it. We honor Justice Shim, Justice Abdullah, and Empress Tamara. We honor them and the work that they're doing, and we honor all Moors who are doing work, because Grand Chief mentioned about a week ago when he was on, the last time he was on House of Reawakening Minds, he mentioned yet another group, and I believe that group was in Maryland territory who's been doing the work. We need to come together with all the groups. And at one point or another, the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic federal government has had representatives, not representatives, because no one represents the Moors, but we have had representatives from just about every tribe and nation. We've had contact with them in one way or another, whether it be them calling us, Shalay Moore and I, and our Consular General Grand Chief Tariq Bey, we've had contact with them at some point, so all are aware of the assistance and the work. And from this point, we just need to continue unifying in that manner.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that. Hopefully that sheds some light on what you're saying. They have the right, those are the right concepts.
Yes.
They just need to be clarified, and we have to ensure that we don't ever go back to the corporation for anything.
Right. And when they talked about using the international judicial courts, I learned that there are some that are local, but so they're saying that is the way to deal with any Albions that are violating our treaties, and because we can use the treaty between Morocco and Great Britain, where we're subjects under that treaty, and go to the international courts that way.
We're not subject to anyone.
That's what I said.
That's number one. We never were subject to anyone.
Impossible.
And we're the international courts in our territories. That's the part. So I think where the clarity needs to be made is they're looking at spaces, positions. They're looking at positions in the territories. They're looking at a structure.
Okay.
And there are no foreigners in that structure.
True.
So if you're looking at an international court in the territories, that structure is the correct structure, except that Moors need to be in those places and not Albions. Because why would you talk about whether Albions can be on your own land if they're going to be the ones making that decision.
Right.
We already know what they're going to say.
Yes, yes.
So we honor what they're doing, and our suggestion is that we look at the structure all together, because we do need to work together. We have to. I mean, our ancestors they're not going to have it any other way.
You're right.
We know that. And so we need to all look at that structure and then begin to fill the spaces in the territories.
Yes.
That's what needs to happen.
I agree.
In this territory, we have come together and we've decided that we're going to meet regularly here at West. We started meeting regularly. And it's important that and when we come together, we're coming together with court actions being done, liens being put in place, and everything, so that we operate in that same manner. So we're actually already filling those spaces. We just need more Moors to fill them.
Yes.
So so what you were thinking about, you're already the head of the territory, but all Moors are.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the piece.
Yes.
All of the Moors that are already the heads of the territories, which is all Moors. So here at West, I'm not the only head of the territory.
Yes.
All the Moors are the heads of the territories here. There's not one head.
Yes.
There's all of us, because we are one.
Yes, and I think they
then we come together and agree.
Yes, and I think they're just looking for that hierarchy structure to appease the nations that are watching us. That's what I'm getting out of it. They want us to be structured in that way so that we can be recognized by them, and so that we can start. Yeah, and
we actually, because we're the first, and when I say we, all Moors, those nations don't have a standing yet until we recognize them. That's really the real deal.
Yes.
All of the other indigenous nations of the earth come under the first.
Yeah.
First in time, first in line.
Yeah.
And so that's why we needed to stand.
Yeah.
We needed to stand so that they could get the Service Corporation off of their backs. We had to do it because the Service Corporation is something that was done here.
Yes, our monster.
And now they're finished, so we don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
Not like that. And now, guess what happens to everybody who was working in the Service Corporation? They are not holding any public office over the Moors. They become subject to the Moors because they've always been subject to the Moors. We don't go to them for anything. And what we say about the subjects goes. And then we determine that as a nation. And I will tell you this, that we've already put the laws in place for the subjects. The Service Corporation is no more. We know that. You can look at them and tell they're no more. Because you can't have two heads, and right now they're trying to have two heads over there. Can't have two. Unum Sanctum says you can't have two heads.
Yes.
So let's put the law in place there. We have said there can't be two heads on this land, so they don't hold sway anyway. We're it. And now we have to come together and recognize one another. And that's how you can tell when competence has ensued, is when we recognize one another, and then we begin to unify and work together as the nations and governments of the earth.
Yeah.
That has to happen. And, you know, the resources come when that happens. The resources are already here. They're already ours. We just have to come together and determine how to use them.
Yes. Yep.
Does that answer Did I leave anything out? Because I want to make sure that I thoroughly address what I think of that. And it's not even what I think, it's the law. Our ancestors, that's how the consulate and the government has grown so quickly, is we know that this is about all of us and not just some of us. And that the burden, there's not a burden, the responsibility and the duty is on all of our shoulders and not just any one of us. And one thing I know about us Moors is that we reject having anyone over us. We've always rejected having anyone over us. Even when we were in the corporate status, we didn't care for anybody trying to rule over us.
True.
And many turned against their own parents because the parents were trying to rule over them, because we have it in our DNA to lead ourselves. And so we have to lead ourselves and come together in doing so. It's a term called joint and severally. Joint and severally, and Justice Shim and Justice Abdullah and Justice Tamara, they read so they know what joint and severally means. It means that each one of us is sovereign and we're all sovereign together. And at any time, the sovereigns can decide whether they want to continue together or become their own government, just like United Respublica became, they stood and said, okay, we're going to govern ourselves here recently, November 7th. And so we honor that. We recognize them as a government here, a Moorish government, a sovereign government on the land, just as we are a sovereign government on the land. We have to work together still. That is how the United Nations is formed, the real one. The real one.
Yeah, you answered all of my questions. I yield as far as my thinking goes. I thank you for all that. I'm glad I was able to bring it out and get some clarity on it. So thank you.
Yes. Yes. We need that kind of clarity, Empress, among us. Everyone, it's time now to set aside anything that's not like our ancestors, any corporate energies. We have to set that aside and govern our mentals in a way that unifies the nation. Because yes, everyone, the whole earth is looking at us to see if we're going to recognize one another and come together and unify as the nations of the earth and the governments of the earth and govern this vast estate. The estate is too vast for anything less than that. I love it. I appreciate that. And thank you for bringing that to this forum, because it needed to be brought here.
You're welcome. I
appreciate that. I have heard some other things, but we don't go by hearsay. That's why I'm glad you're here, because with you being here, then it's not hearsay. This is what's going on, and let's talk about it. There needs to be dialogue and unity. And we have to know that it's okay to disagree. That doesn't mean we don't love each other. Doesn't mean we don't love each other. We can disagree and still be unified. Because disagreement does not have to take on the form of, and I'm not saying that I disagree with them, I'm saying just the opposite. We agree that their concepts are going in the right direction. Everything needs to be in red and all lowercase letters, so that we are outside of capitalism.
Okay, but how about us bringing our issues to the international courts that they're talking about, that take, you know.
Well, who is the International Court? Let's ask that question. Let us establish identities, because that's how any court action starts.
Well, the people that are calling themselves the International Court are people that, you know, they're not a, you know, and
have they declared their nationality?
Actually, I just know that they said currently there are international courts locally here, because the only one I knew about was the one in the Netherlands. But they're saying that there are ones here locally that we can go to, you know, with our issues, and go with the treaty between us and Great Britain, you know, because Great Britain was our Brutus Moors, and you know, and so
right.
that's
Great Britain is the Brutus Moors. That means Moors go to Moors.
Yeah.
The issues.
Yeah.
Moors don't go to anyone that's not declared.
Yes.
Because again, no one is valid until we identify them on our land. No one is valid unless they're properly identified. We, the Moorish National Republic Federal Government and the Moorish American Consulate, have properly identified ourselves. We know who we are. Everyone knows who we are. And we recognize the other Moorish governments who are de jure. We don't recognize anything that's corporate or 501c3 or any of that. We don't recognize anyone that's under the service corporation until they come out from under that. And those that they are saying are the international court is us already. That same, and this is key, that same 100 people that they're talking about in the territories is already the international court. If you have 100 people in a territory that are sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine Moors, who properly identified themselves, and properly just means I'm a Moorish American national by bloodline and birthright, my mother is, my grandmother is, etc. Then there's your international court, which in reality, we've already done that too. Moors in all of the territories have been doing court actions. So the international court is kind of already established, because guess what? We were doing consular court where fraud on our land is concerned. So we can enhance that and we can make that better by the concept that the justices and the empress are referring to. We can make that better by putting the proper terminology, and we've had the proper terminology. It's been consular, because consular court is the international court. Whenever there is diversity of nationality or diversity of citizenship, the consular court is it.
You're right.
We know that. So it's already done. Already done. And that was the place that we wanted to get to when we first became the Consular Court Restoration Development Team back in 2017. And we were sent in 2018, on May 18th, 2018. That was when we went to Delaware. So we all went to Delaware, to the House of Reawakening Minds, Delaware Terratum. I'll use that term today. And terratum and territory are interchangeable. We went to Delaware, and we were sent from there. The video is out there. The record, that's the record. The record is out there already. Many have that already. So, and we were specifically sent as an international court.
Yeah. Yep, I have that video. So, I witnessed that.
And that was for thousands and thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and even millions have witnessed that, because we already know that the numbers are not what YouTube says. is what is really true out there. No one can be doing the things that are being done and it's not be. So we have many witnesses. We have at least 2 witnesses. We know that, and that's really what's needed for us. So those things are already done. The tough work has already, the heavy lifting has already been done. Now we just have to agree that it's already been done. They have, and when I say they, I mean all Moors and all of us who are coming together. We just have to, again, recognize one another and recognize what's been done. And then take that and put it together with where we're going.
Yes. So that's simple.
Yes.
Instead of reinventing the wheel and doing all this intricate stuff.
No need to do that. It's already done. Moorish American Consulate, and I give high honors to all of the consular post heads, past and present, all of them, who, even the ones who were at House of Reawakening Minds on the first day, on May 18th, 2018. Because that was a lot of work. I'm going to tell you, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and we were not getting paycheck, quote-unquote paychecks for it, but we didn't need them because we saw what needed to be done. And it needed, and fortunately, Empress, I'll tell you this. Our ancestors know what they're doing. They made sure that we did it in Delaware, and we didn't even realize then. We knew, but in our spirit, but we're seeing in the record that everything that we did was inspired by the ancestors. Already. That needed to happen. So we, at that time, and even up till now, we didn't really need to worry about who's the president or who's the prime minister or who's the emir or who's this or who's that. We just needed to get the work done. And we got the work done. There are more Moors on the earth today who know who they are because of the work that all of us have done together, because we did it together. All Moors who are on social media, no matter what, all Moors who are on social media, who have placed their sovereign status over the airways and broadcast their sovereign status. Somebody saw that. Somebody saw it, and they wanted to know who they were. Somebody saw that. Somebody saw it and wanted to know who they were. And that's how we've grown. We get calls all the time of Moors still today who just want to know who they are and how are they to express who they are. How do they get recognition? And that's really, this is important. When Moors call us for nationality documents and things like that and questions about nationality, all they're looking for is recognition of who they are. Well, why would we point them back to a service corporation when we can tell them right there on the phone, we recognize you? We're recognizing each other. That's what's giving our strength is in our numbers. That's what is key for all of us. Our strength is in our numbers. And in a very short while, and we have other nations that recently we spoke with one Moorish nation. They've been a nation on the public record for 50 years. And when I say on the public record, before the Albions came here, the foreigners came here, they were a nation also already. And then, guess what happened? Capitalism came in and took over. And now they're looking to get away from capitalism because capitalism had them paying taxes on the land that they've had for centuries. Centuries. And actually since time immemorial. And they want to know how to get out of that, so we're assisting with that. You know, and all they have to do is stand in their sovereign status. And they're not coming under the Moorish National Republic federal government. They're a government. They're a sovereign nation already. They're just looking for our assistance, and we gladly give it. Gladly give it. So, hopefully that sheds some light on where we're going as a nation and as government.
Yes, that put me at ease to know what's going on out there. You know, all of us as a whole working to come out of that system, and that put me at ease.
So, Empress, with regard to that 100 people thing, your duty is the same duty as it's always been. You've already been doing your duty, where anyone who comes to you and says, hey, I heard you're Moorish American, I need to know who I am, do that. And then when you all do court actions, you're the international court in the territory already.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Okay.
And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Moors in each of the territories. Here in this territory, we only know of a few Moors. But this territory only consisted of Seattle, Tacoma, Federal Way territory. So those are the ones who come together. There's not many of us that come together regularly. But that's not the whole territory.
Yeah.
The whole territory, there are thousands, and everybody who is formally branded as Negro, Black, Colored, and African American, they're Moors. All we have to do is keep doing what we're doing, and new Moors are coming regularly.
Yeah. Good. Great.
So your job is very easy. You're already fulfilling the mandate.
Yes, I believe that I am.
Yes.
I know I am. Maybe they're just overthinking it something because it just made it seem unnecessarily hard. The things that they were talking about, but. I do feel like they're going in the right direction as well. But the things that was just like, oh man, you're making me go back to square one, You just keep doing what you're doing. That's what Grand Sheik always says. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're already doing it. Except now, those who come to you, and this is why we tell Moors that once they declare their sovereign status, and they terminate the corporate contracts, because see, you can't be a part of a corporate and then expect them not to put the whole corporate burden on you. You're right.
That's where policy enforcers and stuff come in at. So once you terminate the corporate contracts, the first thing we say then is learn the liens and court actions process. Because we're already constituted as the international court. We're the only ones. And when I say we're the only ones, the service corporation can't do it. Only the Moors can do that.
Yeah.
That's why it's already done. What the concept that they're vocalizing and putting in, they're saying this needs to be in place. All we have to do is look at it and say, it's already in place. Let's just call it that.
Yes.
Easy peasy. This is easy. Our ancestors, they know what our ancestors, we have to trust them and know that they know what they're doing, and that anything that's been done thus far, all we have to do is do like God did in the beginning. In the beginning, God created and then named.
Yeah.
We just have to name it.
Yeah. Yes.
Already done.
Mm-hmm.
Just name it.
Mm-hmm.
So what looks to be monumental is not monumental. It's natural. Already. It's natural. Those are natural things. We've been doing that and going to keep doing it. And that's why we support what they're doing and what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing really is unifying and affirming what we've already done.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, we love what they're saying. We love it. We love what they're saying, and we look forward
to
hearing more and more and more and more, because they are bringing the recognized structure to what we've already done, and then that's only going to make things better for all of us.
Because in their contract law class, so they're saying that we have some obstacles right now, so we just have to learn how to work within the corporate system until we're ready to stand. And so,
you can't. And some don't. Some still think that the corporate is valid. It's not. They were never valid. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 1861 and 1871, no more valid corporate. None of that's valid. None of that was valid. After that, once they usurped, then there's no more validity there.
Yeah.
And that's why we lean them out of the way.
Mm.
We don't want to then come and put them back in the way.
Yeah.
Because guess who's coming with them? Policy enforcers.
Yeah.
And fake courts.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why the vanguard is so important.
Well, they said that they know that the corporation is no more, but still use what you can until you can stand. But I said, okay, here's the thing. So what standing ain't easy, because you know it's a test on yourself and all that kind of stuff. So, if you know, to talk about waiting for a time where the coast is clear to stand, or where they're dissolved so much where you know you can just see we you know we're present. That you know that just doesn't work for me in my mind, because it's like my lack of better word, you bowing down. To me, you know, it's like you're bowing down to them system because you don't want to stand. You don't want to. You don't want to take that.
Empress.
Yeah. And so, you know, but at the same time, like you're saying, they're going in the right direction. You just gotta wait till you know, what they're doing gets cleaned up, get some clarification. They are working it, and of course, the ancestors are not going to let us go that route where we're not standing, because that's a waste of time. You know, we might as well just be asleep. And so, but you know, I just wanted to bring that up because it made me feel some kind of way, you know, and so and I'm glad
it should.
I'm glad you're about it. Yes. So that other people who are out there hearing that, you know, that they don't go to sleep. I'm strong enough not to go to sleep. I was just saying that to the brother who was telling me, you know, what he's learned from the classes and everything. And I was like, you know, that's enough to make you want to go to sleep. But, you know, I'm not going to sleep. But it might be some people who are, because, you know, if you're at a certain level, that can be overwhelming, you know.
It can be until you realize you're already doing it.
Yes. Yes. So.
The system is already in place. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The court system, the international court system, what is international court? It's consular.
Yes.
Already in place.
Yeah.
And each more, see, that's where your 100 people come from.
Yeah.
Each more It's already that. All they have to do, and that's why we tell Moors, do the court actions, do them already. And fortunately, the Moors can hear it. They do it. They've been doing it.
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to the Moors who were doing it, they already set themselves up as government in the territories as already.
Yes. Yes. We've been saying it forever. We're the law. We're the government. So what more do you need? Yes.
Yes. Yes. It's already done. It's a wrap. I'm telling you, our ancestors meant for us to wrap this thing up now.
Yeah, that's where I envision. Yes, I feel it in my spirit now.
Yes, it's done.
Yeah.
As above, so below.
Hmm.
They already won in the ether.
Yeah.
They were just like, okay, down, come on this plane, on this dimension, come on. And we're like, let's go, let's get it. And all the Moors did it. Every Moor who has done even one court action is already a part of the international court. They're part and parcel of the earth government.
Mm. Mm. You're right.
It's a wrap. It's court actions going on all the other lands, too.
Mm.
All of them. They've taken what we are doing, and they're doing it.
Okay. That's great. So?
The islands as well.
So, it's done.
It's done. But I appreciate that United Res Publica is looking at those things, because we need to call it what it really is. You can call it international court, or you can call it consular court. Those are the same.
Yes, you're right. Because the diversity of citizenship and all that. So,
yes. And guess who's doing that? The ones who are supposed to do it, the ones who have the authority to do it, the Moors.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's clear. Okay.
Easy peasy. All we have to do is keep doing what we've been doing.
Yes.
And then enhance that and bring it up and continue with the grand rising.
Yes.
That's it.
Wow.
I love it. I love that. I love what they're looking at, because we can clarify what's already been done, and those energies together create synergy for all of us.
Synergy? I never used that word before. I've said it.
Yes. Okay, so I happen to have a dictionary here.
Okay.
Let me look it up. Let's see. Here it is. It says synergy. Synergy. It's from the word synergien.
Okay.
And it means to work together. It means combined or cooperative action or force. Now, how much force do we have when we're working together?
A lot.
We already got, everything is already done. We just have to say, okay, this is what this is, and this is what this is, and continue governing and start dealing with the resources. It says, specifically in medicine, so we're healing ourselves. That's what's in this dictionary. It says, combined or cooperative action or force, specifically in medicine. Wow.
Okay.
So we don't need a vaccine. We can do it ourselves.
Yes.
And then it says the combined or correlated action of different organs or parts of the body. We're all part and parcel of our government, so that means coming together as the different bodies and different organs. Islam. And it says, let's see. Oh, as in performing complex movements Ooh, that's good. The different parts coming together to perform complex movements.
Okay. Yes.
That's really good.
Yes.
I really like that one.
Mm.
Because the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic federal government are doing what they're doing, where nationalizing and nationalizing and nationalizing and nationalizing, and continue to assist Moors in proclaiming who they are. That's one movement. And then the court actions and the liens and terminating the corporate contract, that's 3 other movements. And then the structural systems that United Res Publica is looking at, and some of the other governments too. I don't want to leave them out. I could name some of the other Moorish governments, or not name, but I could honor them, you know, which we always do. We're always going to honor all the governments. But they just need to come out of capitalism, because many of them were thinking the same thing too, that they had to be under the corporation in order to get anything done on the land.
Yeah. They're saying because
and that,
yeah. So many of them we're not where we need to be to stand, and
we absolutely are.
Yeah.
We absolutely are. We're exactly where we need to be. We just need to call it what it really is and work together. And when I say work together, I'm not just talking about United Res Publica. I'm talking about all. And it's already happening, actually. One of the nations that I spoke with last week, they got some stuff done that will tie what we're doing now to the Antiquities land piece.
Really?
And again, they've had it the whole time.
Yes.
It's just that capitalism snuck in. So we're assisting them in removing the corporate covering off the land. Excellent. And standing in that manner.
Excellent.
You know, and so again, the ancestors are not playing. They want this done. They want this work done, and all of us coming together can do it. It's already done, really. We just have to keep doing it.
Yes.
Because that's where what appeared to be a fall came, is we knew what to do, but we seemingly stopped doing it. We just stopped doing it publicly. We needed to do it publicly.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, we can keep working and keep coming together. I want to send high honors out to everyone who was a consular post head or who is a consular post head with the Moorish American Consulate. That means those who started with us from the beginning all the way until. And as a note, I want to say this. Empress Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, who is Empress Yeshurun, her solar return is in a few days. Today's the 16th? I believe it's the 19th of December. It's between the 16th and the 19th. And we want to say happy solar return to her, and also happy solar return to Justice Giramore.
Oh, what? They're both Sagittarius?
Yes, they are both Sagittarius. And there are other consulate members who are Sagittarius too, many who are Sagittarius. They bring a particular energy that cannot be denied.
Yeah, I like
they
that.
Do.
Yeah,
they do. So, and all the signs bring energies that we just have to look at those energies, know what they are, and identify them.
Yeah.
And then have everyone who has those energies work in the space that they want to work in.
Yeah. I like
where their energies can be optimized.
Yeah. I had a friend that was a Sag. She passed away, but I like working under her. I like assisting her. I like that position with her because I like their thinking, you know? And And so I met other Sagittarius, and you know, and I was like, I'm attracted to that. I will assist you, you know, whatever, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, you can bounce ideas off of me, and you know, we can brainstorm together, and you know, and I could be that assist.
That's synergy.
Yeah, I like
that's synergy. And because I heard you say you liked working under her. Assisting doesn't mean under; it means beside.
Yeah, really, because
then we can do things. We can get things done. Synergy is created. When the energies come together, synergy is created. Yeah.
Because when we did, you know, she would come to me with ideas and everything. And you know, and then I liked it the way that they were not ambitious, but they were like forward thinkers and the audacity. Like you have the audacity to believe you can do this, you know, and that's what I like.
Yes, Islam.
So that's what I like about the Sag. And yes, and I do work side by side with them, and I assist a lot because you know they like that I support them, and, you know, in their thinking and stuff, and we brainstorm. It's a good. Yeah, I like the Sag.
Sages are awesome. They're absolutely awesome. I can say a whole lot about Sages. I love them.
Yeah,
that's what I can say. They get a lot done. They get the work done. As many of the other signs do too.
They do too.
Do you mind asking what your sign is, Empress?
I'm Cancer.
Cancer, Islam. I'm gonna have to look into Cancer because I don't know as much about Cancer as I do about Sagittarius and Geminis and Virgos.
Yes. Yep, those are my three. Yep, the Sagittarius, Gemini, and Virgo. Yep. Yep. Yes, there is some definite correlation there. Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Islam. Well, Empress, thank you so much for that. And listen, anytime, please bring whatever, because that's a beautiful contribution. That's a beautiful contribution. About the questions about that and being able to, you know, put what we're hearing in a place where we can really utilize it. Yes. Well, we can use it. We can use everything out there. And that's really what resources are, is using whatever is out there. You can use it, but it has to be cleaned up first. That's what we're here for. And when I say we, I mean all of us. We're here to clean up the land. That means cleaning up the concepts and cleaning up and adding clarity to things that could, because the corporate is not, you know, that foreign corporate policy enforcer court system is not a clean system. But that doesn't mean chunk the concept. It means get rid of those dead corpses attempting to say that we are under that. But we still look at the structure and say, okay, we're already doing this. We can do it this way. We can call it this. We have Moors already in place for this. It's already done. We just have to come together and name the structure of what it should be. And that's already done too, really. You know, so with that being said, are there any other, Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments or anything that you want to add to that? Anything at all?
Hi, I'm Justice Frank L.
Islam.
Yeah, man, I'm glad y'all cleared that up because, man, I was ready to hurt him. I thought he was talking against you, and I said, what? And by me being able to go there 4 times a month at the House of Reawakening Mind, I've been supporting them since day one. I'm so glad you cleared that, but when I'm thinking about all these different Moors and all our different ideas, and I was mad because I said, why does he don't know that you don't put it in lowercase and red? What's wrong with him? So I was defending you, but I can learn from you. As you remember, some lady in Detroit, Tariq, they couldn't quite figure out. They was like over their head until Sister Tracy Galpay, she understood her as to when she went to listen to Taj again, she knew exactly the structure was coming together like we was mentioning, like different, Moors and so, boy, I'm glad y'all cleared it up, Cheetah. And y'all discussed that. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't have too good of a thing. I said, what is he, a commercial? Is he against my sister writing? Something writing. And I'm sleeping the bed, listening, subconsciously. And I got up, and it troubled me real bad. It bothered me. What is they? They turning on me? They trade. So I didn't know how to handle that, but you kind of clarified it too.
Justice Frank, be at peace. And when you hear things that trouble you, as a nation, we should discuss them. We should talk about them so that we can put the peace in place so we can continue. Because if people are walking around troubled by what they're hearing, then they're not going to be focused on their freedom. And we need to be focused on continuing and unifying and continuing to free ourselves. So, anytime you have anything like that, Empress Shatali, high honor. Thank you for that, because those are things that we need to talk about as the nations and governments. We have to be mature enough to talk to one another without it descending into a corporate energy. That's important. And you know what? We're built for that. All of us. We're built for that. We're built for putting the energies where they need to be so that we continue and we stand and we move. We are standing already. We've already moved all corporateness out of the way. And what we have to do now is continue unifying so that when we proclaim resources, which we've already done, it's just a matter of us saying, okay, this is ours, we're going to use it this way. But we have to agree on how it's going to be used. That's all. Those are the only things that are left to do. There are no corporates standing in the way of anything. But each Moor's third eye must be open to see that. And for Moors who have not yet demonstrated to that level, or there are some Moors who are still asleep, then they're not going to see it just yet. And I'm not saying this is not about Justice Shim and Justice Abdullah and Empress Tamara. This is about Moors in general, those Moors who have not awakened yet. They won't see that the corporate is out of the way already. But they won't see it until they demonstrate with liens and court actions and terminating those corporate contracts. That's how you know the corporate is out of the way. And having it done in red in all lowercase letters, that's saying who we really are, and then that's calling that corporate thing a corporate thing, a dead corpse, like it really is. They have to remove it, and once they remove it, then the corporate is removed for them. Then they can start doing whatever they do. That is why court actions and liens are a part of nationality, because then we get to operate in who we really are. And for the thousands upon hundreds of thousands of Moors who've done court actions to date on all the land masses, because I do know that there are court actions being done in other territories. We see them online by Moors. And for all who have done that, they're already the international court. That's the Earth's court. They call it the world court. It's the Earth's court. Period. And Then when it comes to courts, that where Moors come together and work things out, that would be the United States courts in all lowercase letters in red, which is us. It's not any corporate, and that's not a 501c3 or anything. It's not under the corporation. The United States courts and the United States Treasury is us in red in all lowercase letters. And that's where we come together to decide things, because there are other states that are united with us, and we are united with them. And that's why we're called the United States and the United Nations in red in all lowercase letters. We were the first of all of that. We've always been the first of all of that. Empress, you mentioned something about America and that word. America is also mentioned in the 101. In the 101, it is stated that we are the descendants of Moroccans born at America. Now, all those who say that they're America in red and all lowercase letters, that's who they are. Because there's a different meaning that goes with that America than the meaning of America with a capital A and black ink, or a capital A period. So, and then lastly, we have to remember that sovereigns can call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, and no one can argue with that. The tribes can be whoever they want to be. The tribes who have declared their Moorish nationality, because you can't be a tribe under the service corporation. You have to be a nation in nations and governments. That's what we're meant to be. And then within those nations and governments, there can be tribes, as long as they stand and proclaim their nationality on the public record. So, if a sovereign wants to call themselves America in all lowercase letters in red, they can do that. Because no one rules over sovereigns. Sovereigns can call themselves whatever they want. And as you can see throughout the ages, we were called many different things. Our nations and governments throughout the ages. Some say, I'm only going to call myself Moroccan or Al Morak. That's fine. Because at one point on the timeline, that's what we called ourselves. At a different point on the timeline, we called ourselves Israel. Some say Israel. At another point on the timeline, we called ourselves the Cherokees and the Creeks and all of that in red and all lowercase letters, not the corporate ones, but the real ones. The original, the indigenous, original one, natural one. So, you can't tell sovereigns what to do. We say that all the time. You can't tell sovereigns what to do. You can make suggestions, and you can show them what you know in law, at law, and then it's up to them how they respond to that and what they choose to do. Our job, though, is to point to the law and say this is what the law says. The law says that sovereigns can be whoever they want to be just by definition of what a sovereign is. So, having said that, we are going to adjourn here until tomorrow at 7 if there are no other questions or comments. And we're happy to clear up anything out there. We're happy to clear it up, with regard to the nations and the government.
It's lost. Well, one thing about it, now, I can't listen to anybody, but somehow or another you got that magic over me. I know exactly what you're saying. I never missed since 2018, not even a half of miss what you said. You could teach me, not everybody. So I appreciate that. I'm honored for you for that, because I understand what you're saying. I can't understand what everybody's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Not Grand Sheik, I can understand what you're saying. A lot of stuff. Valentine. Matter of fact, I was shocked to hear Grand Sheik like who I like, Valentine. I didn't know he was a Moorish American until he got his own university out of New York. So pretty much, you know, well, I don't know what I'll do without you.
Yes, we honor Phil Valentine as well.
Yeah, I give you your ancestors credit, though, because I was a little upset about shit. Like, why you talking about the ancestors? So, I'm ready to beat, they ready to beat somebody up over you. They mess with you. I've said, and I tried to read there, too. People ready to mess somebody up over him. So, that's what I mean. How honest to you for being able to teach me.
Islam. We're just affirming what we already know. See, no one has to teach you that people cannot be over you. Your spirit will respond in a certain way, like it does when you think someone is trying to be over you. You know what I'm saying? Because we've always had that. We've always had that in us, where we were only going to be, there's only so much talking over Moors that you're going to do, even in the corporate status. We don't care for anyone attempting to be the Lord over us because we know we're the Lord, the law. And that's Lord in all lowercase letters in red. And Lord just means law, L-A-W. So when you talk about a landlord, you're talking about the law of the land in red and all lowercase letters. I could go into the etymology of the words all day and what they really are saying, the real definitions, etc. But I won't today. Islam, peace, and thank you so much for sharing that, Empress Frank, Justice Frank and Empress Vitali. And we'll talk again tomorrow at 7 Eastern.
All right.
Islam.
All right. Grand ride to the west.
Yes, grand
Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Yes, Islam.